guys, and welcome to ENFP Identity. My name is MauRease, and today I'll just be kind of introducing myself to you and kind of introducing to you what this page is specifically about. So, in particular, this page will be talking about Myers-Briggs and more directly ENFP. I'm going to focus on mainly the ENFP aspect of Myers-Briggs. However, I'll be bringing in different people who have different personality types. Also discussing different personality types here. So it won't be locked down to just ENFP. However, the main focus of this page will be to talk about ENFP and the different things that we experience or think about when it comes to going through daily life. So what is Myers-Briggs exactly? Myers-Briggs is a psychological quiz or panel. It uses a series of 16 different personalities taken from 8 letters broken down to 2 dichotomies each. So you have 4 letters within a personality type, and it can be either E, I, which stands for extrovert or introvert, N or S, which stands for intuitive or sensing, T or F, which stands for feeling or thinking, and then you have J and P, which stands for judging, perceiving. And obviously those are, like I said, a series of 4 letters based on the 2 dichotomies, and then you get your 4-letter personality, and the different combinations make up a total of 16 personality types. So as I said, it's a psychological quiz or panel using those dichotomies to describe how people perceive and act on the world around them. So something I like to say, because a lot of people, they get into Myers-Briggs, and from one end of the spectrum, they're like, oh, it's just another personality test. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant, things like that. And then you have the other side of the spectrum of people who try to make Myers-Briggs their entire life and try to use it to completely, define who they are as a person, or they try to take this this box or this personality and this perspective that they see and fit themselves inside of it, feeling like they should be a specific type of person or act a specific type of way because this is what their personality type says that they should act. However, I like to say that Myers-Briggs does not define, it describes. So, like I said, Myers-Briggs doesn't define who you are as a person. No matter what your personality type is, if you meet someone else of the exact same personality type, there is bound to be a difference between who you are and who they are, because first of all, not every single person is the same. Not every single person has gone through the same experience in order to bring them to where they are now as a person. Another thing is, kind of piggybacking off of that, is nature and nurture are a big part of your Myers-Briggs personality type. So someone who goes through a particular situation and you who goes through a completely different situation, and you guys end up with the same personality type, you guys may have the same or similar nature, but again, your nurture is different. So the like I said, the experience you go through are different. So you're going to have a little bit of a different perspective than they will on something, even though you guys may come to the same conclusion. So, like I said, Myers-Briggs does not define, Myers-Briggs describes. It takes your nature and your nurture, the things you experience, the things you go through as a person, and it describes why you may react to a thing a certain way, or why you think about things in a particular way that you do. Your state of mind or your mind frame can be described a little bit better using Myers-Briggs. Again, it does not define you as a person. It does not define who you are and who you are going to be. It just takes your tendencies and your thought processes and how you perceive things, and describes Why? Simple enough. Myers-Briggs does not define, Myers-Briggs describes. So now that we've gotten past what Myers-Briggs is, again, a psychological quiz or panel to describe how people perceive and act on the world around them. Now we're going to talk about the dichotomies. As I mentioned, first you have E and I, extrovert and introvert. Extrovert versus introvert simply is involved with how you get your energy. So for an extrovert, it does not mean that an extrovert is not a shy person. It does not mean that they don't have anxiety or anything else like that that we tend to classify as introverted behavior. Being an extrovert simply means that you get your energy from being around other people. So extroverts, after a long day at work or a long day at school or something like that, are going to tend to want to be around other people, and this is where they gain their energy. And certain extroverts, like myself, prefer to be surrounded by only one, two, or three people that they know very closely, but still gain their energy from being around other people. On the other side, you have introverts who gain their energy mainly from being alone. So after a long day of school, long day at work, wherever, when they need to recharge their batteries, they prefer to be alone. This does not mean that they don't go out to lunch or go out to dinner or anything like that. This doesn't mean that they're socially awkward or that they're even uncomfortable being around other people. What it simply means is that when they need time to recharge their batteries, they prefer to be by themselves and alone. They can go out to dinner, go out to a movie, but 9 times out of 10, if they feel like they're in a state where they need to recharge or they feel drained, then they're going to go by themselves. That's all it means. Extrovert, you gain your energy from being around other people. Introvert, you gain your energy or recharge your battery by being alone. So next of the two dichotomies is N versus S, intuitive versus sensing. And this dichotomy has everything to do with how you receive new information and how you synthesize the information that you are receiving from your environment. So intuitives are more likely to be a little bit more sensitive or synthesize the abstract ideas and concepts around them, while sensors are more likely to put more value or credence in the physical aspects of the things around them. So the sensors are going to rely on their 5 senses most of the time when they're gaining new information. They're going to look at what they can see, smell, taste, touch, and hear when it comes to the intake of new information, while intuitives are more likely to see the subtle body language and the untold or the unspoken signs and signals around them. Intuitives again are more likely to focus on abstract ideas and concepts as opposed to sensors who are very much about concrete ideas and concepts. All right, following that second one, you come to the third dichotomy, T versus F, which is thinking versus feeling. Now, this does not necessarily mean that a feeler is going to always be emotional, use their emotions, and that a thinker is going to be solely robotic, logical. However, what it does mean is that a thinker is more likely to use logic when they make decisions or choices, while a feeler is more likely to input their emotions and think about how it makes them feel or how they would feel if they were in that situation. A thinker is more apt to use objective reasoning when they make a decision, while a feeler is more likely to step into a subjective role when they come to make a decision. So it doesn't mean one is emotional and one is devoid of emotions. It simply is in reference to how they make their decisions. One is more likely to look at details and details on a way to the big picture, while the other is more likely to look at the big picture for itself and then begin to add in the details of how it got to that big picture. Um, for a filler, uh, the process is a little bit more of where they place their value, while for a thinker, the result is where they're more likely to place their value. So that is where you have the difference between thinker and filler is the decision making process. Now, the final of the four dichotomies is J versus P, which is judging versus perceiving. Judging versus perceiving, this dichotomy has to do with your lifestyle and basically taking all the information that you've gained and how you act on it. So J versus P is all about how you act on the information that you've received and synthesized. So for a J, a judger, doesn't mean you're judgmental. It doesn't mean anything like that. A judger is just someone who is a lot more. I would say a lot better at keeping things in order, and I would say for the most part, judgers are much more organized than us P's, us perceivers. Judgers do a good job with things like calendars and sticking to sticking to plans. Definitely, as a perceiver, excuse me, I can say that I may have the urge and drive to make a calendar or have a planner, and I may stick to it for 1 week, 2 weeks, upwards of a month, but usually at some point I fall off. I'm not very good with trying to pre-plan things and stick to this plan that I have formulated beforehand. That's just something as a perceiver I have a difficult time with. So, as a judger, they're more likely to be able to stick to any plan or a plan that they create and they feel has value, while a perceiver is going to have a little bit more difficult time sticking to a plan or a particular order of events or something like that. A perceiver is a lot more of the go with the flow type of individual. They will look to just kind of move as the wind takes them. Does not mean that they are airheaded or spacey, anything like that, which is kind of a misconception there. It just simply means that for them, a plan that it's hammered into rocks, unchanging, unwavering, have to stick to this particular plan does not work for them. They are better with, here's some loose instructions, and this is what needs to happen. Now, go make it happen. For me, like as I said, as a perceiver, if you just give me general idea of what you need done, not a specific order of events of how it needs to happen, I do a much better job. Give me my end goals of what I need to meet and what I need to reach. Let me develop my own process and reach it. I'll be fine. If you give me a specific order of events, I have no problem checking off items off of a checklist, but I do have a difficult time necessarily following every single order of events. However, the person who made the list gave them to me. It's just something that I realize I have trouble with, and I think it's just an aspect of being a perceiver. I like being free, like free flowing, and be able to kind of move at my own pace, with my own pace to reach my end goal. So those are the 8 dichotomies broken up. As I said, you have E versus I, which is the first one, extrovert versus introvert. Then you have N versus S, intuitive versus sensing. T versus F, thinking versus feeling, and then J versus P, judging versus perceiving. E versus I is how you gain your energy. N versus S is how you receive and synthesize information, new information that you gain. T versus F is just how you make your decisions and your decision making process. And J versus P is basically broken down to one word: your lifestyle, or how you act on the information that you have received. Alright guys, as I said, this is ENFP Identity. My name is MauRease. If you are from my Instagram page under the same name, ENFP Identity, hey guys, I've finally done that video that I said I would be doing. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm kind of new to this, so if you have any suggestions, any comments, any critiques, I'm more than open to hearing them. I think I definitely need it just to help me, become better as a content creator, I guess. If you're not familiar with the Instagram, hi guys. Hope you enjoyed what I've been saying. Hope I explained it a little bit better than some things you see online or may hear in other videos. If not, let me know. I'll clarify as best as I can. Also, down below, hit the subscribe button so you can see when my videos go up. As I said, they should be going up on a weekly basis. This one isn't going up on the weekend, but for now on, the rest of the videos should be going up at some point over the weekend. So, some point between Friday and Sunday, there should be a video up every single week, unless otherwise said. Also, I will put a link to the Instagram, Twitter, and email down in the description below. Just click on it right, there should be somewhere down there. Click on it to get to the Instagram. Click on that to get to the Twitter. I'm not as active on Twitter as I am on Instagram. Instagram, I'm posting almost daily. So, that's there. And then if you have any questions, any comments, any concerns, any topic suggestions, any critiques, feel free to email me. Feel free to comment down below if you want to, as well as you can send me a direct message on Instagram. I check that multiple times a day, every day. So I'm really good as well about getting back to people that message me. Any questions that they have, I'm usually there to answer them within 24 hours. I believe that's it. Again, kind of new to this. Hope you guys enjoyed what I said. There'll be videos out on a weekly basis.